Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about collective narcissism. I used to do videos on this quite a bit. I'm a social and behavioral scientist, and I haven't done any in a while, I think. Not any to really focus on it. In this one, well, let's focus on, I just did a video about people who use verbal abuse, and I mentioned at the end of it that I was going to do this. And in that one, I focused on people who do things like stereotype people. And in this one, it's about when it's not just a person, it's a group. Let's say group narcissism, collective narcissism. They're used interchangeably. But you can think along the line of adults now, who are mean girls. I usually don't talk about children. So minors. So let's talk about adults who have the behaviors of, like many people call mean girls or mean boys. When they, get older, I have not noticed that any of them that I've ever known in my life that they change. They remain. They believe in their group, their clique, whatever it is, it can be many things. They believe that they are on the top. They're the A crowd. They're the top. The top dogs. They're the best. They know everything about whatever it is. Or they're the most beautiful. I mean, it could be so many of. They are the best of whatever's. And anybody else, especially like an opposite group, they believe in being very aggressive toward them, insulting, demeaning, it can even be abusive, not just physically, but yeah, they could be. Now, yesterday, oops, I'm going to hit that curb. Yesterday, I heard, basically, it was, I don't know how to say this, but I don't know what had sparked this one person to talk about it, but it was someone who was a Gen X, okay, and was talking about the difference, some issues with millennials. Okay, that person wasn't me, and that some of the millennials have such a beef against baby boomers. Okay, now it's not my first time to hear that, and I've hear somebody state that. It's not my first time at all. And myself, I have seen maybe a few times, okay, that, some of the millennials, none of this is all. I don't like when people say all. All of the millennials hate baby boomers. No. I don't like at all saying, well, this generation does, something negative or whatever. But I'm a bottom of the baby boomers, upper Gen X. So I'm in that little part right there. And so for me, I don't remember, really, seriously, do not remember that my generation had this thing, baby boomers, Gen X, generations, had such a thing against any generation older. Okay? And I'm not liking it if they have anything against any generation younger either. But I don't recall us having that. When I was young, since I'm saying that this person was talking about millennials, that would be somebody younger. And I don't recall that in mine when I was younger. See what I'm saying? But then, right after hearing that, I'm serious, it's funny how life just does something like this. After hearing this person who was a Gen X say this about the millennials, not liking the baby boomers, wasn't me, like I said. Not long after that, I heard a Gen X, it was funny. It was funny, not as funny as what they said, but funny as in the coincidence of it happening that way. That they were putting down, that one was basically not maybe even totally aware of it, of having that angst toward people who are older. Okay, and really, seriously, was very professional in what that person was saying, but at the same time, a little bit attacking, you know, someone that guy's age. Okay, it was a guy. No, it was a woman who was saying it, but it was the guy who she was talking about. That makes sense, doesn't it? But anyway, there was that. Then, this was on a video. You know, you can make videos on other places other than YouTube. And I read the comments. Later on, I went back and read the comments. Some of them. There were so many. And in the comments, many, not all any of this, many of them were young and were pointing it out as in agreeing with that summation, basically, of the attitudes and so forth of someone in either of my generations. You see? How good. And at the same time, trying to state that person, that woman, young woman, trying to state that people need to be sensitive to various things, okay, about others. Yeah. And also mentioning having biases and agendas. Yeah. You know, nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect. You know, I make mistakes. You betcha I make mistakes. I'm a social and behavioral scientist, but I make mistakes, and we all do. And, you know, we're all human. Well, some question it, but we're all human, you know. So, you know, I've always known this and believe in this, you know, judge not, you know. But, of course, I do. Some of it is pure survival, that we judge other people. But if you're going to write out a speech, a lecture, something you've actually spent time writing it out to make it sound professional, and all that, double check your own attitude, or just check your own attitude. I never like when people say double check, because quite often they've never checked in the first place. But check your own prejudices, your own biases, and your own agenda before stating somebody else is doing the same. Seriously. But like I said, I'm not one to, I don't like that stereotypes of any kind, anything, anyway. Am I perfect with it? No. That's just stated. I'm not perfect. But I don't like to think, I don't want to think that any one generation hates another generation. And they use the word hate. Another generation simply because they're from that, you know, the people of it, because they are that. You know, that would be a bit of, and that they are somehow better than those other generations. That would be collective narcissism. Okay? The group, the people who actually do it, the type that actually does it. Some people in that generation are not going to do that. In any generation. They're not going to say, oh, well, you know, the Gen X's, they're this way. The Gen Y's, they're this way. The Gen Z's are this way. No. You know, not everybody will. But those who do, the type to do so, and will, you know, make like a collective whole, well, collective. And those who do, okay, say that. Yeah, collective narcissism. Their group is better, and then they become aggressive toward anybody outside of it. Not good. And it can also be seen in in a view of anybody who is at a certain age group, you know, and it's ageism, that therefore they do this, you know, an age group cohort, or, you know, to say they're all this way. That anytime you hear all those people, all of them, all, that's not good. Okay? It's not good. Plain and simple. But yeah, there's a difference when you say all of those who actually do that actually do that. Not all of them, not everybody who's that age, but those who actually do that. There's a difference. And some people will not hear that. That it's not all of them that age. But what they'd hear is what they want to hear, and so they can say, yeah, well, you know those people. You know how they are. You know that generation. You know that age group. You know, whenever, you know, like even teenagers, say all teenagers have this teenage angst and this teenage rebellion and this. No, they actually don't. It is not, and it's not at all universal. Okay? And I remember when I was a student, that's one of the things we learned. It's not universal. It is allowed. Now, I know that some people will say, well, I don't allow my child to do it, but they do it anyway. But that's not what they mean. That's not what was meant. It is somewhat expected. It's like when people say boys will be boys. That's bad. That's a bad thing to say because that's actually giving them permission, in some instances, giving them permission to be bad. Saying, hey, it's just normal. It's not. Teenage angst is not normal. Okay, teenage rebellion is not, universal. It's not a universal norm. So, anyway, like I said, I thought it was very interesting that, funny, in this funny way, it happened so coincidentally that I had heard someone who was Gen X say that about Gen Y, and then somebody who was Gen Y, a bunch of people agreeing with it, who were Gen Y, saying it about baby boomers and Gen X. It's the older Gen X. Wow. Yeah. This kind of mentality of all of those who are this, of this age or this group or this bent, this lean, they lean this way or they are that way or they are part of that group or they are this, that they're all bad and we're all good, that stuff needs to stop. People need to get a handle on themselves, Like I said, I'm not perfect. They really, they who do that. No, in my videos, I mean those who actually do that. Yeah, need to get a handle on it, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and talk to you on another video.